What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Lash Journey podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking all about my new training facility that we're building and just kind of give you a little bit of an overview of how I came up with the idea, what the processes look like, and what the future looks like for it too. Okay, so if you've been following my story, you know that my salons do really well, but we do it based off of services alone. So within the past year, I've really been thinking about how I can boost revenue without necessarily increasing expenses at the same time to really capitalize on everything that we've grown as a studio. And I wanted to really take the opportunity to get involved with education because we are really well known in our area for producing good quality work. We have so many talented artists that have been in the industry for 5, 6, 7 years. And the other really big hole I noticed in our community is that in Delaware, in the upper state, we only have 2 schools really. I think a third just literally open, but we don't really have a lot of programs for aesthetics. And what I'm finding as a business owner was that a lot of these poor students were coming out of school after having spent so much money on school, and the schools are basically only teaching them how to do a basic European facial because that's what they need to know how to get done for their state boards. They would briefly talk about waxing, briefly talk about dermaplaning. Some programs might teach lash lifts, not with really great product. But for the most part, these people were coming out and none of them really felt confident in order to get a job at a spa. And then I can speak as a spa owner, as a busy spa owner, that when I'm looking at people who are applying for a position, it takes a lot more time to hire somebody straight out of school than it does somebody else because you know that you have to put all of that time and effort into hiring them, teaching them how to wax properly, teaching them how to do lash lifts, teaching them the different modalities and like what's new and what's on trend for aesthetics this day and age where, a lot of these programs are unfortunately kind of old school when it comes to teaching them, the basics, but not necessarily what they need to work in a beauty studio now. So I wanted to create this training facility to cover a couple of different problems that I saw, and that was the biggest one. And the other issue or the other thing that I knew that would solve for me, not an issue, but really a blessing, would be that when we create these programs for these new estheticians in the area, we are now going to get to meet these estheticians face to face. We're going to be able to see the new talent. We're going to be able to see how well they pick things up naturally. Sometimes when we interview people, you just kind of have to go off of a gut feeling. Do they fit your culture? But you don't necessarily know if they're going to pick up on the trainings super well. So by having this training facility and being like the only training facility in Delaware for continuing education, we now get to see all of these faces in and get to vet them and see if they might filter into our different studio spaces and fit well with our culture too. So I'm really excited about that. And then third, I really just wanted to create a community. I wanted to create community with other lash artists in our industry. I wanted to be able to have this space out that, other artists can rent and train their own students out of it. I wanted to be able to have traveling trainers. I'm really, really looking forward to curating a really cool training schedule for people on the East Coast. We kind of get the short end of the stick when it comes to trainings. It's like, if you don't go to New York, it's really hard. I think New York and Florida are the only, main places that we can travel to take these really nice classes. And I think that by building my name and position in the industry, I've made a lot of great friends with a lot of really, really cool trainers, and I'm really looking forward to hosting them here in Delaware. We're centrally located. Everything is tax-free here. We're going to have products for the training students to purchase as well. We're going to do workshops. I'm just really excited to build something here on the East Coast that people can take advantage of when it comes to furthering their education. I'm going to be able to run business seminars and have some of my favorite business coaches out here so we can all just, have a place where we don't have to travel out to Texas. We don't have to travel out to California. And I'm hoping that it really helps my business, establish more, not only as a regional leader, but as an East Coast leader as well. So really excited about that. Now, the process, I was really, really lucky in finding this space. My current landlord that owns my big Wilmington studio. He actually owns the business or the building next door. And he had a whole entire floor that he offered me. And I'm now going to have a beautiful office space that I'm going to get to record this podcast out of, and just get to leave my house for work for once in like the last 2 years. I haven't been able to do that. So I'm going to have my own space to work on. And then right next to the office, like on the same floor, is going to be this really nice, spacious training studio. We're going to be able to hold up to 10 beds. There's an area that we're going to be able to do, have a TV in there and do all of the theory training that we need to do, take cute pictures once the classes are done. And then we can, fit those beds in there and do anything from like lash lift classes, brow lamination, lash extension classes. And one of my employees actually came up with a really good idea to host whole bundles for students who are just coming out of school or who are looking to like really get the most up-to-date education. And, if they bundle the classes, they can take lamination, lash lift, and it's going to be a longer process, but they can really come out of that feeling super confident that they know all of these skills that can, place them in jobs better or prepare them to run their own businesses as well. So, I think that by doing this, I'm checking a lot of, check marks off the box. My husband is the one who's doing the construction in there, and it's just coming along so beautifully. I'm keeping it nice and simple and clean. We have like the hallway. It's going to be, pretty arches. We're going to have product shelves and arches. I know off the bat, we're going to be bringing in Lashbox LA to our studios to be using Lashbox LA. We're going to have them being sold out of the training space, and that way our local artists can have access to different products. I hope to add some additional lines to that down the road where artists can just do kind of like pickups from the shop and everything. I don't know. I think it's this new chapter of business that I'm just excited to break into. I've always been a, natural educator. And even though I really love educating on the business side of things, I think it's a really great opportunity to offer to my employees an outlet for them to do more than just the services one-on-one with clients. Now they can get into educating others, which, as we know, if you have ever taught a training class, it's super fulfilling to be able to just be a part of somebody else's lash or aesthetics journey too. So if you are on the East Coast, feel free to hit me up. Make sure that you're following our studio page. I'm going to be posting like when everything's done. I'm hoping that it'll be done by the end of October and we'll start getting these classes booked. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to is, again, in Delaware, we're always like last to get anything. There's no real permanent jewelry places. And I will be the first one to tell you that I used to think I didn't understand why people who were in the aesthetics field or lash artists were bringing on permanent jewelry into their businesses. I'm like, you go to school to get your license in aesthetics, and like, why are you now leaving aesthetics to do permanent jewelry? Well, I am pleased to admit I'm kind of changing my mind on this after seeing a lot of some of my business friend owners do it too. And I know I don't talk about it a lot, but I have this this mastermind of different salon owners that I lead bi-weekly. And two of the girls in my mastermind are doing great with permanent jewelry. So I've been picking their brain. I have another lash artist friend turned, full standing permanent jewelry store out in Baltimore. And I've just been picking their brains on like how to get started into it and, the pros and cons. And I am excited to say that we're going to be actually, my business manager and I are going to be flying down to my friend Andrea, who owns I Create Her in Orlando, Florida. She owns 2 lash salons out there, but they are the biggest permanent jewelry providers in Orlando. And we're going to be flying down there, I think next week, actually. It was really random and quick, but we're going to fly down there. We're going to take her training course and we're going to learn all the ins and outs of permanent jewelry. And we're going to be able to use that event space when we're not running classes to be able to provide, pop-ups for local events, vendors, like really focusing in and honing in on that collaboration that I was talking about in the beginning of this episode, where now we have other businesses coming in and collaborating as well. And, we're able to serve our clients who are all interested in permanent jewelry too. It kind of goes hand in hand with what these women like. But I just feel like it's a really good opportunity to do something different and to, again, offer my employees a change and something to do and interacting with our current clients. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. And if you have any suggestions for if you're on the East Coast and you have any traveling trainers that you would like for me to get into the East Coast, anybody you've been dying to train with, please hit me up and let me know because I will be creating that schedule soon too. Okay, I'll make sure I keep you guys posted. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you next time on the Lash Journey podcast.